Hi there, I'm Diane Christopher. I'm the Executive Director of the Regenerative Agriculture Alliance. I'm so excited to be here tonight because we put together a really awesome program with voices from across the ecosystem to tell you about what is happening and where are we going. Over the next hour, we're going to hear from those different voices as well as share key monumental milestones that have happened. Some of you might not realize, but the Regenerative Agriculture Alliance has been around for 5 years. We're based in Northfield, Minnesota, but we have an international scope and impact in our work. Because of the transformative nature that community-based food systems deliver, we're able to engage people all the way from the farmers that grow our food to the eaters that consume the food. And ultimately, what I really want to see is us coming across that ecosystem to think about the collective impact we can have. As a director of an organization, a lot of the work that I do is figuring out how to steward the different individuals and gifts and contributions that they have. The cool thing is that the magic really is when people come together. We know how we want to do this work and where we're going, but there's little surprises that happen each year and things that change the course of history. I'm so excited to be a part of that work and really honored to be able to spend the time with you tonight. I'd love you to think about what you can do and how you'd like to contribute to building this food system. I'll be seeing you a little bit later, but for now, thank you for your support. I'm going to hand it off to our founder, Reiki, to tell you about where we've come from and where we're going.
Hello, I am Reginaldo Haslet Marroquin. I'm originally from Guatemala, an agronomist, and the founder of the Regenerative Agriculture Alliance. Back in 2018, in September, is exactly when we were starting this organization, my vision was that we could build what I call back then the backbone nonprofit arm of a large-scale regenerative agriculture system centered on poultry. Later, as the team grew, we called it the Poultry Center Regenerative Agroforestry System or Agriculture System, and still in flux because as regeneration itself, it is always in flux and it's always happening. And so in that story where I wove myself into this new structure and the structure wove itself around me with the teams and the ideas and the vision, I also knew that eventually I would transition into a new space within the ecosystem. As the Regenerative Agriculture Alliance became part of that organizational structure for the larger business ecosystem that we were here to launch, Tree Range Farms, which is the market-facing arm of the whole business ecosystem, the organization, the company in charge of contracting, branding, marketing, and distributing the products that come out of this Poultry Center Regenerative Agriculture System became a reality at the end of 2022 when I moved out of the RAA, the Regenerative Agriculture Alliance, and into Tree Range Farms to lead that company development and launch. So at this point, I am the CEO of Tree Range Farms together with a team of other 2 people, including plus our board and consultants. With Jennifer and Ted, we are leading the deployment of this new arm of this ecosystem. But it started with the RAA. The RAA really, as a nonprofit, became the backbone institution. And under the RAA, we moved into setting up this, I call it historical process. And historical, from one hand, because we use the history of some of our native heritage around what is now being called regenerative agriculture. That concept, under the way we embrace that concept under the RAA, was really by honoring the ancestral knowledge, the ancestral wisdom, our indigenousness, understood as in belonging to the earth, being made out of its elements, belonging to a larger ecosystem where we are simply parts of a whole, not understanding that the RAA was going to be it, not setting up necessarily as a nonprofit, but as a pivoting point from which we could envision a future larger than ourselves within the agricultural sector. Now, centering on poultry was central, was critical, because we needed an entry point into a mass-scale system. But it was always about regeneration and ancestral holistic understanding of how we are to build the future of agriculture, one that doesn't degenerate the planet and destroys the very ecological foundation and the societal infrastructure and the rural economies on which we actually depend to feed the world. So today, in the name of feeding the world, we have built a mass-scale, industrial-level, destructive capacity for those very things that we need in order to feed the world, which is mind-blowing. But that is because we have gone that way because we have forgotten about our ancestors, about the wisdom that they left us with, about our ability to take knowledge from the current technological world, universities, biophysics and chemistry and all of that, and then apply the ancestral wisdom so that we could actually generate the kind of systems that will deliver us the agriculture of the future. The history of the REA is exactly that. Is one where we took this historical indigenous knowledge and capacity to see the whole world rather than just the one thing we want to harvest. With the poultry at the center, we built a larger scale strategy that will take us generations to implement. So the future of the REA is still great, is still bright, and is still unaccomplished. What we see is evolving further into this ecosystem of enterprises, communities. We started with a simple nonprofit with no funding, with $100,000 grant in 2019 to just barely get by. And from there, in partnership with all these other individuals that came around and started adding their intellect and their capacity, we have now built an institution that has positioned itself to lead the development of this larger scale business ecosystem on one side and landscape-based ecosystem to regenerate the planet on the other side. And as we do that, we're looking at how this historical trajectory has evolved. For example, we knew that to deploy poultry, we needed farmers. To deploy farmers, we needed training programs and training capacity. We developed that. And then in order to deploy those farmers, we also needed processing facilities for the chicken so that we could bring the dignity of workers into that part of the process as well. And so we bought and deployed a poultry processing facility out of Stacyville, Iowa. We needed more people. Diane came along, jumped into that incredibly challenging position to be the director of the RAA, has done an incredible work in reframing and restructuring and further polishing the original strategy. And as she did that, it allowed me to move into the Tree Range Farms operation, where with Jennifer and Ted, we are able to further expand that ecosystem. Then came Arnulfo and Delicia and all of the other folks that have surrounded all of these leadership positions so that we can continue to build this ecosystem. But we're not done yet. Recently, with the Climate Smart Commodities grant that we received from the USDA, and with new partnerships that are emerging because of that kind of support from the U.S. government, we have positioned ourselves to integrate further into that supply ecosystem that we have been building. So looking at grains, regenerative grains, codifying indigenous and ancestral knowledge into that whole area, grain processing, building new research and development opportunities where we can test new ways of raising chickens in more, integrating them more into their natural ancestral habitat and food sources. For example, bringing sprouted grains at a larger scale to deal with the health of and the animal welfare, as well as the economics of the farm, the biophysics and the chemistry, meaning literally the ecological restoration of the land. So much more that we still have to do under the REA, and as we move into building the business ecosystems and the go-to-market strategies. As we do that, there will be policy work, there will be all kinds of other partnerships, new regions that need to be developed, new business partnerships, corporate partnerships we're cultivating, and so on. But let me leave it at that for now. Louis Kemp, our new, one of the newest additions to the team. He is the director of farmer enterprise and education services. Literally, he is actually putting together the strategies for further engaging the enterprise development at the farm level and that educational aspect that goes along developing a new ecosystem of farmers. So he'll be talking to you about some of that coming next. And for now, thank you for being part of this journey. I hope you will stick with us and that you will grow with us as this new regenerative ecosystem develops, as the landscape regenerates, as our families find better ways to integrate into this large-scale goal that we call feeding the world for real, while meaning feeding the world while restoring the ecosystems, the rural economies, and the social networking and the social network systems that we need in order to actually feed the world, rather than extract, exploit, and destroy it in the name of feeding the world.
Thanks, Rehi. My name is Louis Kemp. I'm coming to you from Viola, Wisconsin. So I just joined the organization back at the end of June as the Farm Enterprise and Engagement Director. So I get to be the farmer-facing member of the leadership team and get to work with all the amazing farmers that have been joining the system and engaging with us. So I help with all of the on-farm technical assistance, business planning assistance, really anything that a farmer can need. And I'm also helping get new farmers involved with the system, giving them the same assistance, letting them know that we're here to support them in anything that they could possibly need. We're actually in the middle of a 12-week cohort. We've got a big group of participating farmers and other organizations and other farm organizations. And we're going through a big batch of training materials and budgets and talking to experts and other farmers that are already engaging in the system to make sure that when they come out the other side, they'll know everything they need to know about our production system and giving them the confidence they need to start producing chickens and feeding their communities. Past year, we've had some of the most engagement we've had. Most farmers, we've produced the most regenerative heritage breeds through our very own processing facility that we ever have before. And we're only adding to it. So if you feel called, we'd really be happy to have you support our organization or be a part of it however you can by either visiting our website or clicking on a link somewhere that might be around here. But we'd really like to have your support and join us in whatever way you can. So with that, I'd like to pass it off to some more voices from our ecosystem that like to share with you their stories and tell you about how they participate and love being a part of the system as well. So thanks.
There is no other poultry production system out there that is actually looking at this from the perspective of the main problems that plague our food system, which are consolidation of power, consolidation of control, in addition to the numerous impacts on the environment, on human health, on animal welfare, and on our economic stability.
And so I think what is wonderful about where we are right now is we can say well, let's redesign the food system. We've done it multiple times in our history. And redesigning it in a way to be diversified and resilient and regionally resilient, I think is part of what's going to make it healthy.
People connected to the land, people knowing where their food came from, and it's from clean soil with clean water, people properly getting paid, all aspects of the production line being acknowledged and honored and properly compensated, and the land and water being properly treated, working together and depending on each other for success. So we're not going to have healthy crops if we don't have healthy soil, if we don't have clean water. And in turn, we're not going to have healthy bodies if all of those elements aren't in place for us. And we are the ones who can put those elements in place.
Producing excellent, nutrient-dense, clean food, and we want to honor that.
It's all the way down to the farmer, to the laborers in the field, to everyone in that supply chain to make a healthy food system needs to be living healthy lives.
There's this regenerative aspect to so many of the parts of this project. I mean, if I had to say it really simply, I would say a healthy food system is one that internalizes the externalities of food production.
We have an opportunity to basically expand the window of continuous living cover on our ag landscapes by incorporating winter annuals, by focusing more on perennials, in conjunction with operations like regenerative poultry. It feels hopeful and reasonable and doable in a way that a lot of these movements, you might get 2 out of the 3. I think this is the whole deal.
When I think about like regenerative poultry, it's local. It's your local farmers who are raising those birds, who are having it processed locally and doing it in a way that is like actually building soil health, but also like community wealth too. Like being able to support more farmers on the land, being able to support more processors online, and like basically rebuilding up those food systems, which historically have been stripped away and consolidated. So having to like rebuild community is also what regenerative poultry means to me.
I'm here because I have a hope, right? I have that ideal that I can make a difference. That's why I do what I do. But it may not be like the tree range systems where it's small scale, or at least relatively small scale compared to what's normal commercial production. But I do think as society as a whole, we can make steps towards improvements. And even if you look at some of the past ways birds were raised compared to some ways they are raised now, we already made some improvements. So I think this tree range system has the potential to provide chickens with what they want, provides them an environment they can express them the way they want to express themselves.
Our intent is to work with our community members to understand that relationship by creating opportunity and access around the revitalization of a local food system.
Having conversations, learning from each other, bringing us together and connecting us back to our lands and our foods, and just bringing everyone that we can along the way.
And as an indigenous person, it just ties our connection to the land. So when I think of regenerative, I just think about us going back to the land.
How wonderful is it to hear all those different voices and experiences coming around to support the work that we're doing?
Absolutely.
So now we're back. We're going to be here talking about a new program and a new grant that we are undertaking. Beck's here to talk about it with me. And the program is the Climate Smart Commodities Grant. You may have heard about it. It's a lot of buzzwords going on in the regenerative agriculture space today. And we are going to talk a little bit about our project and how we hope we can leverage this funding to really keep doing more of what we're already doing. So the Climate Smart Commodities Grant was $3 billion. It's a pot of funding that the USDA, the Farm Services Agency, and the Natural Resources Conservation Services are coming together to see how can these different agencies intersect and support more climate smart commodities coming to market, but also talking about who are those growers and producers, and how do we incentivize them to be able to transition to more climate smart practices. So one of the most exciting things is that, one, we've gotten our award across the finish line, and also that we have a grant administrator, because this is our first federal grant, and based on the conversations I've been having with folks in other projects, the amount of reporting and ground truthing that's going to happen over the next 5 years requires a higher level of administrative needs. And so I'm really excited to introduce Beck Ursak has accepted the position of a grant administrator to oversee this opportunity. So do you want to just take a little bit of time to introduce yourself? And this job is not the only way that Beck is involved in this ecosystem. So let's just talk about that to start.
Thanks. Yeah. So I'm really excited to be taking on this new position and role at the organization as we are pivoting into this, really important time of being able to continue our work. And I'm excited to be able to build upon the relationships that I already have with the partners that we have been doing this work with. And yeah, I currently am a worker owner at the Feed the People Farm Cooperative, which is deploying the regenerative poultry system here in Northfield. And with some of those same people, I also run a curbside compost collection co-op where here in Dundas, Faribault, and Northfield. And so I'm really passionate about working in this organization and continuing to be a part of making the movement forward in climate smart practices overall, being deployed in all sorts of areas of our lives, not just like on the farm, even in post-consumerism.
Thanks so much, and thanks for all the work you're doing. You might have noticed I put climate smart in air quotes, and that's not to make light of the topic. But
so what is climate smart, and what does climate smart commodities mean?
That's a lot what we've been talking about. I've been to 2 partnership learning network meetings, so all 141 grants have a point of contact. Right now I'm filling that role, and I'm going to these meetings once a year, and a lot of the conversations are around, is there a definition for climate smart, and what might that look like as some of this funding comes out into the community? From the Regen Ag Alliance's perspective, we have done a ton of work in educating and talking about through the organization that regenerative is not just simply a set of practices, but it's really about the relationships that we have with the land in our communities. So the greenwashing is real. That's happening in this space. I don't think that's something we want to shy away from. We want to lean into bringing our voices and our experiences to this table. But I do think that the consumer needs to be aware that each region in this country is very different, and each commodity, I'll put that in air quotes too, requires different sets of practices and care in order to be truly holistic in nature. And so in the nourishment that we hope to bring through this project will be tracking climate smart grain, and grain is 70% of the cost to a farmer to raise chicken for the feed. And so that's why we really targeted it when we looked at this opportunity, grain as the starting place, to look at regenerative practices, and then bring that all the way across to go-to-market strategies. One thing we do know is data is important in this work, and we have an awesome science team that we were able to bring in as partners on this grant. So I know one of the first things you and I are going to be working on this next week is getting those contracts out to partners. Do you want to just share with folks who else is working on this with us?
Yeah, so, as you just mentioned, the science team is really important to our work, and we're going to be continuing to work with Freshwater Society, Carleton College, and Mankato State University in their monitoring and sampling over the next 5 years of this project. The impact that these agricultural practices can actually have on improving water retention and soil properties and biomass, the nutrient density within it, and then also how that applies to the chickens.
Who's selling those chickens for us?
Yeah, and so we will also be continuing our partnership with Tree Range Farms, which Feed the People. As a member of that farm cooperative, we market with them, or we contract with them. So there are two market partners who take the regenerative poultry to the market for the farmers. And through this grant, we'll be able to help not only the grain producers to start deploying these practices by giving them incentive payments, but also rebates for the poultry producers who are then going to be buying this climate smart grain. So it's really exciting to see how we're going to continue scaling that to the market and being able to show the quantifiable measurements of that.
And that's something I talk a lot about. I think we're in such a unique position because we have an ecosystem of relationships and partnerships already established. But when we think about the different inner relationships that happen across the supply chain, something I think that will be one of the highlights that we'll share after 5 years is the strengths that an ecosystem that has the coordination such as ours has, and the importance of regional community-based food systems.
And I think that also goes to show the resiliency of how practicing and incorporating this holistic regenerative way of being into our lives and our work is.
Absolutely. And the last thing I think is really important to highlight as we go into this project, which is a little daunting as a small organization, but again, the relationships and the partners we have, I have no doubt that we'll be successful. But yes, I do think it's important to go into it with care, and that not to reduce food to a commodity, but really understand the relationships and the people behind it that bring it all the way through.
Hi everyone, my name is Helen Forsyth. I am a farmer in the RAA network with Feed the People Farm. I'm also a worker owner with Curbside Compost Cooperative, and I'm a musician and here to play a little bit of music to add to the mix. And this is a song that I wrote that is kind of about loving the land and loving the people that you get to share the land with. And so I think that this fits in the theme of stewardship and appreciation and connection to the land that RAA is all about. So here it is, a song called Rickshaw.
Hope you all are enjoying the show. I wanted to take just a minute and tell you that we're raising funds for farmers. Through the end of the year, the RAA will be matching up to $8,000. So if you have the means and ability, please consider making a donation. You can do so by going to our donate page on the website. Thanks a lot for your consideration. Back to the programming.
Okay, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Arnulfo, and I'm very proud to be part of the RAA and also to be part of this important sector of the ecosystem that is at Stacyville Poultry Plant. So, again, my name is Arnulfo. I will do a brief introduction for myself and then for Delicia. I was born and raised in Belize, Central America. I came to work for Smithfield Foods in 2011. I managed farms for them in North Carolina, Missouri, and then finally I had the opportunity to change the whole vision on agriculture, which is what was my passion. So learning about the regenerative system, the poultry system. I'm very proud to be part of the poultry processing here in northern Iowa. We have a processor. Last year we processed 40,000 birds, and this year we're close to being at 57,000. So 2023 for us was a year of growth. It was a year where we saw a lot of opportunities that we could make better here at the plant. And so to start off, we were needing to hire more people so that we can have our processing needs. So I started getting in contact with business partners around Stacyville to see where I was able to hire more people. So I was very blessed that by the beginning of the year, I had a lot of guys coming in from Austin, Minnesota, that wanted to join the team at the plant, not only as employees, but also to be part of what we were doing in the ecosystem. And so we managed to hire and train 15 people, which some of them are still finishing up the season with us since we're seasonal, and some of them have went on to other jobs for the winter. Along with that, we saw that we had other challenges as equipment needed to be upgraded so that we were more efficient. So with the help of the RAA and Diane leading that area, we managed to add a conveyor system, a kill conveyor system, which helped us in being more efficient for our employees and less labor intensive. Along with that, were very other many updates and upgrades that we did. Also, an important one was the Vista Truck, which is a inventory management system. Last year we were taking every weight by pen and paper. This system has helped us to eliminate that a little bit and be more efficient, because we can pull reports from the computer and have those reports readily available once all the data is entered correctly. So 2023 was a learning experience for us. We wanted to make sure that we foment that business relationship as well with the USDA, since we're a USDA inspected facility, and having our schedules on time and making sure that we were following our schedules and having a HACCP plan on the floor also has helped us foment our relationship with the USDA. So all in all, 2023 was a great year for us here at the plant. It was a lot of learning. It was a lot of fun as well. We celebrated a lot of birthdays, and we spent a lot of quality time with our guys, and just talking and seeing what's coming in the future. So 2024, what do we see for 2024 as we envision 2024 is more processing. We plan on capturing more farmers, more customers, that we will process more birds for them. Also, our number one customer at the moment is Tree Range, and we're very happy and excited that we're processing quality, nutritious birds from Tree Range farms. And also further processing as we move into the new year. We're planning on adding a second shift to our staffing, so we will be available to slaughter and process birds on the same day if everything goes as planned for 2024. So it will be a challenging year, 2024, but with no doubt, with everyone's input and ideas, we will make sure that it's a successful year and we can be sharing some success stories at the ending of the year. So with that, I will pass the mic to my co-worker, Delicia Garcia. She is our assistant plant manager, and she will talk a little bit about herself and the importance of meat processing, small meat processing in Iowa. So, Deli.
Hello everyone, my name is Delicia Garcia. I'm from Mexico. I had a bachelor degree, food science bachelor degree. I came here 3 years ago. I'm very happy to work here. So the importance about the small plants here around the area is because farmers had the opportunity, don't drive a lot of miles. So we are taking care about their chickens. Usually they are very happy to bring us their chickens because we trying to have good quality for them, and then usually we attend like Wisconsin, Minnesota, and here in Iowa. So we taking care about a lot of states here that farmers that they come. So we are happy to work with them, and at the same time they are happy to work with us.
So thank you, Deli, for that information. So as you guys know, we're at a key point here in northern Iowa, servicing farmers like Deli mentioned in Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa. And we would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone that has fully supported our small processor here in Iowa, and also to keep in mind that, you know, every day everybody or the population is raising a lot of consciousness of where their food is coming from and also how their food is processed. And thank you for having that confidence in us that we will ensure that we are abiding by the most utmost processing procedures that will be safe for your human consumption. So thank you.
Thank you, Arnulfo and Delicia, for that update on the processing plant. I'm Jen Zapata, and here at Tree Range Farms, I oversee our operations. We have been very fortunate to work with the RAA at Tree Range Farms. They offer us support in terms of working with the farmers we're currently working with, in addition to providing technical assistance to up-and-coming farmers to bring more farmers into the system. Whether or not they join Tree Range Farms, they're following the poultry-centered regenerative agriculture, agroforestry system. And RAA offers us the support that we need in terms of that technical assistance directly with the farmers, in addition to finding things like grants for farmers to utilize for building infrastructure on their property, including chicken coops, fencing, obtaining all of the understory and overstory plants that they need in order to get their paddocks set up. And that relationship between us and RAA has been invaluable. And it's a very important part of why we're doing this is because we're part of an ecosystem, and RAA is the backbone support of that ecosystem. Tree Range Farms would not be possible without RAA's support. If you are looking to buy Tree Range Farms chicken, you can head to our website and check out the Where to Shop page. It's treerangefarms.com, where to shop. You can find us in 23 retail locations throughout the Midwest, including Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. And recently, we have been added to the specials menu at a restaurant in Chicago with one of our organic brands of chickens. In addition to selling through retail locations and restaurants, we also recently partnered up with the local food purchase assistance grants. These were grants that came out through the USDA, and we have partnered with organizations in the state of Minnesota and are currently partnering with a couple groups in Wisconsin as well. In Minnesota, we teamed up with 5 nonprofits that are doing food distribution at no charge to underserved communities. So these grants allow them to purchase local foods and local proteins from local farmers and distribute them at no charge. And it's an incredible business model in terms of what it does for the local farm community and what it does for the health of the community who is now going to receive the benefit from those local foods. I also wanted to do a shout out to Chef Yia Vane for coming out to the Salvatierra farm this summer and preparing an amazing traditional Hmong cuisine for us. We are really looking forward to having that happen annually. And next up, you'll see the video.
As Hmong people and as people from the mountains of Laos and agricultural people, we've learned that if you take care of the land takes care of us. That every part of the ecosystem plays a role. And I believe that in Hmong food, that's exactly what it is. Because I tell people, if you want to know our people, you have to know our food. Because our cultural DNA is intricately woven into the foods that we eat as people. So tonight, when you're eating, think about that. Think about the balance in the flavor. Think about the sticky rice. Think about, the chicken. Think about the Hmong sausage. Think about the hot sauce, the quotzal. Think about the herbs and put it in that lettuce and wrap it in that lettuce and feel the crunch in your mouth and all of that. It's very rarely that you get to be at the farm where the chicken is coming from, where the hazelnut's coming from, where the maple syrup's coming from, and you're eating it right here. I always just tell people that as cooks, what we do is we get these incredible ingredients, right? And we if we're quiet enough, humble enough, and we're patient enough, we kind of stay out of the way and let the ingredients speak for itself, and you'll find that. So when you're eating tonight, it's all about creating that perfect bite, and you can keep going in over and over, and there's no wrong way of doing it. And when you're eating tonight, there's no time limit. When you're eating tonight, there's no hey, we're in a hurry. You're here with friends. And when you partake in this, when you come here and you eat with us, you are no longer standing out here on an island, but you're part of an ecosystem. And we invite you into dinner and to be part of this ecosystem. So thank you very much for allowing us to be a part of this.
Isn't that such a great video? I love watching it because when I came into this work, all I could dream about was farm events. Now I've taken on a lot more than that, but we still get time to celebrate. You can tell in that video how happy everybody was to be there. Taking moments like that to celebrate is so important. That's really what we were hoping to accomplish tonight, is a Regen Recap to really celebrate the different voices and the way that other people are contributing to this work and why it is so important to them. Why is it important to you? Why are you here? And how do you want to be involved? The next big opportunity to get more in depth and closely involved is going to be the Regenerative Poultry Convergence. We call it a convergence because it's not just a bland conference. It's a way that we come together and think about what's it going to take to continue to do this work. How do we build governance systems? How do we get other farmers involved? How do we build bridges and pathways that deliver financing that's achievable for a small to mid-sized farmer to do this work? That's going to be March 21st and 22nd. It's in Carleton College, and we should have the registration link on our website any day now. Please think about joining us for that, as well as telling other farmers in your life and people in your life that might be inspired by this work. We're building a movement, and like I said before, we've never been in such an awesome place and time to have more people join this system. If you want to grow hazelnuts, we're the people for you. If you want to learn more about chickens and why they're like dinosaurs, we're the people for you. And if you want to just get connected and be a part of a community, we're the people for you. It's great if you live here in the Midwest, but even if you live across the ocean, we want to hear about the work that you're doing and why this is important to you. So thank you for spending the time with us. Other ways you can support are on the website, and also one thing I wanted to know is we're collecting donations. This year we'll be matching those donations and we'll be giving them directly to farmers. This perennial system takes a lot of upfront costs, and so the people that are taking that opportunity to start now are building a future that will be here and last for a long time. We hope that you can consider helping them on that journey. And most of all, I just want to say thank you for all that you do. And with that, that's the end of the Regen Recap.